As we talk about the branding message, it's not just a one-time definitive statement that is used in every circumstance and situation. There's a lot of flexibility to it. David, I think one of the bigger challenges or questions that we get from advisors is, what do I say to an existing client? Maybe I feel comfortable in using this branding message with a brand new prospect, but do I use it with an existing client? Help us to understand the difference between really a repositioning statement vis-a-vis a branding message.
Yeah, Phil, that's an excellent question. As advisors, being able to develop really two deliverables. First, as Phil mentioned, delivering this branding and packaging, if you will, to an existing client. Understanding that they already know you as a prior advisor. They might know you as an investment specialist or retirement income planning specialist, and being able to use the branding message of really the four elements: what you do and how you do it, the tools and resources that you have, and then delivering that service and tailoring that to the client. Obviously, the advisor has probably been in a position where he or she maybe has been really siloed in their deliverable. But what you need to do in your repositioning in your branding message is slowly but surely start wrapping in some of the other things in which you and your team are wanting to deliver to the client, i.e. repositioning. So, for example, if you've really never spent time on introducing your internal and external team and the resources in which you have, repositioning the client when you visit with them and their family, being able to make sure that they see the additional resources that you and your team can bring to the table. So each and every time you visit, whether it's monthly, whether it's quarterly, whether it's annually, being able to continue to drip that branding message onto the client and to their family.
So it's not a big all-encompassing, we're changing everything about the way we've ever worked with you. It's really that evolutionary process.
Exactly. And then the second side of that is working with prospects and suspects, net new, if you will, as we say. First time you've ever met with the prospect, their family, first time they've ever been into your firm. Taking those four branding message points and the elements of each and every one of those, and they're interchangeable. You don't necessarily have to start at the top and go all the way through the bottom. Depending upon the relationship with the prospect or suspect, you might start down at the last number 4, move your way up. So being able to have them, I say, as a piece of the puzzle, and being able to have them intact or itemized one by one, depending. But being able to differentiate current existing relationship versus a prospect or a suspect.
You know, something you said right there really clicks. I think a lot of advisors believe that they've got to take a very deep breath and get through a monologue or oration of these 4 points without any interaction or any engagement. That's really not what you're suggesting right here. It's more, again, part of that entire process. Now, Daniel, talk a little bit from your perspective about the economic value of ensuring that you do this and what happens if we don't.
Yeah, I mean, when we build out that branding message, of course, it feels like a speech when we're first saying it because we're trying to learn all the components of it. With an existing client, somebody you work with on a regular basis, I don't need to deliver my whole branding message. I'm just reminding them constantly who I am. It's so important because we work on our business plan all the time. We know what we do. We know what we represent to the client, but we have to restate that. There's a lot of noise in the financial services industry and a lot of people competing for their business. So we need to make sure that we're constantly retelling the client who we are, what value we bring across. If I'm solving a particular problem for the client, to help them understand and remind them that I use several people on my team to help me come up with the right answer to do that, to help them understand that while we were looking at that, we made sure it was coordinated with the other parts of the 13 wealth management issues that were going in. That piece, and it's part of what you were saying, that you don't have to use all the parts and you might do it forward or backwards, is so important never to stop branding yourself with the client, reminding them of who you are, what you do, and the value of your relationship.
You know, I think about that comment, and we see this in professional marketing all the time. I recently purchased a new automobile, and I really wasn't interested in new automobiles until it was.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, all of the ads, all of the commercials, it became very, very top of mind. That's exactly what you're saying right here. Clients don't really think in their own scope of comprehensive wealth management on a day-to-day basis. They think about issues that are going on in their day-to-day world. Yet when an issue becomes critical to them, having that conversation, having that branding message, that repositioning statement in play, really brings it top of mind.
And you talk about the economics of that, and I think that's really important because not only are you helping to remind the client, which is reselling the client themselves, you're repeating the message to them. Just like when you bought a new car, don't you start noticing more of those on the road?
Absolutely, you do.
And don't you like talking to some of your friends about that, or they notice it and talk to you about it? Well, it's the same thing in the advisory world. If your clients are constantly reminded about the great job that you do, the manner in which you run your business, the breadth that you go through in their family, the peace of mind that it gives them, then they have that story to tell other people. So your branding message then gets leveraged out, and that becomes part of the introduction process.
So this narrative, this story, is really about repositioning yourself, burnishing your brand, and making yourself that much more introducible down the line.